Thank you, Jason. Really, I appreciate the opportunity to come back over to Oklahoma. I've got some roots here. I actually am a graduate of Oklahoma State University Landscape Architecture program. Both of my parents graduated from Oklahoma State University. My mom's actually from Nardin, Oklahoma, right outside of Blackwell. I spent almost every summer here and working on the wheat harvest with my grandfather. And that kind of goes back to, I want to touch on some of the background. How do we get involved in this? And you see Wynne, Arkansas, what are you doing in Wynne, Arkansas? Wynne, Arkansas is in the delta of Arkansas. It's about 40 miles west of Memphis, right off of Crowley's Ridge. And my family settled into that area in the 1840s. And I put up here, because I think it's interesting, this is how my family made a living, basically. The Swamp Land Act of 1850 essentially provided a mechanism for transferring title to federally owned swampland to private parties agreeing to drain the land and turn it to productive, presumably agricultural use. Now that's what my ancestors did in the delta, the wetlands, the floodplain of the Mississippi River, settled up on Crowley's Ridge. Crowley's Ridge rises about 350 feet and everything else is underwater. Accumulated 10,000 acres of land doing this. And I think it's ironic, today I actually live and raised my family in a home there where they settled and built in 1900. And 150 years later, the government is paying for recreation of these wetlands and low impact development. So it's extremely ironic, and I'm sure they're laughing right now of what I'm doing, and I'm going to go through some of the projects I've been fortunate enough to be involved in Arkansas, and this is a real movement, guys, and it takes all of us to stand behind it and continue to push it. It takes a lot more energy and effort than the high impact development. I think that was an interesting play on words. We talk low impact development. But really think about it. How big of an impact does what we're talking about actually make? So I've never thought about it that way. I thought that was interesting to hear. The first project, and I'm going to flip through some of these slides. I probably have too many slides. I'm going to try to get us on track a little bit more, and I'm not going to talk on all of them. But what drives of course, like I said, I'm a landscape architect. What drives the site designs that come out of my mind, and this sums it up really, our mission statement, to design environments using strategies that incorporate stormwater to create innovative, resourceful, and compatible spaces for people, plants, and wildlife that enhance community and socioeconomic well-being. If you can combine all of those things together, you're really doing some good, and it is one of the most complicated things to combine all of those elements together on a project, and it's really challenging, but it makes it all worthwhile. So you're going to see a lot of things. I'll highlight a few things: design, innovative, community, and I think it ties to a lot of things that Susanna spoke on. And actually, this first project actually received some money, brownfield grant money, and innovative parking lot design money from the EPA. So I think it's a great segue to try to get everyone excited about some of the potential projects. These are built projects. This one's 10 years old this last year. And so it's one of the first green initiative projects, and actually has a history. And the site here, this is, of course, the Clinton Presidential Library under construction site. You can see that brownfield site. It's railroad track, concrete, brick. The concrete was compacted, rebar separated, or crushed, rebar separated, and reused for site stone base work. The brownfield remediation here was really incredible, and the original. This would have been a floodplain with you'd see a lot of the plants that probably would have been in this area, and we used them in a different means. The site plan, if anybody, I'm not going to get into the mission of Heifer International World Headquarters, but look it up. I mean, it's basically passing on the gift. And the site is basically right in the center of that circle, a drop of water landing in that spot, and this is the ripple effect. The passing on the gift, the ripple of the water, how everything is connected to everything else, basic definition of ecology in a sense. But the building, the land, the public space, the parking field, all of these are different ripples of that one drop of water that essentially is all connected to one another. And they truly are. And this insinuates the ripple effect even more. Like I said, the wetland and the parking field. This is a parking field, and we like to call it a parking field because it's even today the bioretention areas. If you look at it from a distance, you see a meadow with just the tops of cars kind of sticking out. This is over 300 car parking lot. This is a self-contained watershed. So when I say that, basically the rainwater that falls on this site stays on this site. It doesn't run off. We collect all of it. The retention pond is our storage, our heart of the system. The wetlands around the building, we need the makeup water because we're in an urban area. We don't want the natural fluctuations are not a public aesthetic. So we use the retention pond to move water to the wetlands in the summertime and let the detention pond dry down. The parking lot uses a 30% porous paving, 70% impervious, and on this actual project, a gravel paved system from Invisible Structures was used, and it really and truly has stood the test of time. We only use it in the parking areas. It's not. It is not good where you have active traffic, tires turning, and things like that. But it's been a good porous paving system, and we basically inverted the parking bays. You've seen this before, but instead of running all the water to inlets and getting it into this creeks or stormwater system as quickly as possible, we slow all this down. The center of the bays with the high point, the water transfers through the rock, 20-foot rock infiltration area and into the bioretention areas, then down towards an inlet. And this is just a blow up, and the darker brown is the porous paving. So that's your filtering system, and then you have the bioretention area. So what happens? Most all storm events go into this bioretention area. It never gets to that rim elevation, and it drains out within 8 hours. But it's going through this natural sand filter system, which is used for, all types of applications, even sewage treatment. So that's just a very simple natural process. The big storm events, the water comes up and goes over the inlet, and I always look at it as a primary system and a secondary system. Our engineers, you look at the primary system as moving the water all out for that large event. We flip it. Our primary system is keeping that water on site and then providing the overflow for the large storm events. I'm not going to get into the plant material much, but as I mentioned, it's so important to match the soils to the hydrology, to the plant material, to have success, and then also the management and maintenance of these projects as well. Just because a plant's native to your region doesn't mean it's going to do well wherever you put it. That is so far from the truth. It has to have the right ecology of the system. So the second part, the parking lot I talked about, the second part is the wetland. And this is another ripple effect and that surrounds the building. And again, plant material. And after 10 years, I put the species that we still see today coming back on their own. There's no irrigation systems except for the sodded areas, and we mass the native plants in groupings so that the management and maintenance folks understand what's supposed to be there and not, and that has really worked well. And it also keeps a clean aesthetic for the public eye. And I'm gonna fly through some of these images, not really, just kind of touching on a few things. But this is, we didn't this wasn't a forced system where, okay, we're gonna have all this water, we don't have the clay, we're gonna spend millions of dollars to bring clay in. This is a river, this is a natural floodplain of the Arkansas River. The soils were a heavy clay. The detention soil, the clay dug from the detention pond was used to line the area around the wetlands. And I really don't even know if we need it to do that, because it really was just a clay soil there. And the water depth here is 12 feet. We did that because we know sedimentation is going to slowly bring it up, and we always want to keep, again, the wildlife aspect. Here you're seeing, right here it brings it all together. You've got people, you've got the public, this is a working environment space, but surrounded by a natural habitat of plants and wildlife, and it's great to just take a stroll out. It almost looks like this is, looks like some of the areas in the Delta when my ancestors came over, and then all of a sudden there's a building. It almost looks like the building was built into the wetland and not the opposite, the wetland built around the building. The important thing is to this is an urban area, so the public aesthetic of, we're so used to the manicured golf course and the maintenance. So the way to combat that is I keep the manicured at front. Keep 30% of the site manicured, sod, maintenance, typical, everything else. Take 70% of it and do natural. That blend of manicure to natural really creates a nice transition, and it makes it keep clean. You can see these are horsetail reed is a plant native to that floodplain. Historically, we've had it come back where we did not plant it on its own, and probably is just a seed source or a spore source in the soil that has come up. But where we did plant it, we used concrete paths to keep it organized and keep it under control. The roof water is collected here, and it comes down. You can see the little weir system. It comes down into a rain garden. This is outside of a little eco cafe there on site. Again, the use of native plants to Arkansas. That's swamp coneflower, Rudbeckia maxima. It's actually truly only native to the Four Corners, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. It's a wonderful plant, can handle wet and then also dry down. I'm going to move through some of this. Is the public space, the wetland. Again, the Rudbeckia maxima, prickle rush, and some of the native trees, river birch, and so forth. The interaction of people into the environment. And then also, you say that native plantings, Arkansas native plantings, there's very few that are evergreen, and that's a big, something we get a lot of. We want a native planting, but we also want that evergreen look. It can use, the plant material goes through the cycle, and it can be attractive as well. This is just a quick image of the gravel pave system and filtration to the bioretention in the field. Massing of the plants over here on the left, inland sea oats and redbud, and then that's a picture of the parking lot, or the parking field as I like to call it. Black gum trees used in the middle. It's a corporate campus, but it's also a public park for the city of Little Rock. And here's a good idea of the connectivity to downtown Little Rock, and the importance for our school children to see this type of development right in their backyard. This is looking back towards the east, and a more organic, less formal wetland system on the north side. Okay, the second project I want to visit with, and this is a different one. This is actually not a closed system. This is a open system, 500-acre watershed running through a development in Conway. This is Hendrix College here. This is a new urbanism development, and there's a floodplain. The entire upper side was under floodplain and would not be able to be developed. The early thoughts of the planning were to put this into a concrete box system and move it to the perimeter of the site and get it out of the way. We put together a restoration plan to, and I'm going to try to go through. I have a lot in my mind on this project because there's a lot of complexities, so I'm going to try to shorten it up just a little bit. This is the site, and this is the watershed. It's a very urban area watershed that all this water comes from concrete boxes and empties into the stream that has been degraded and cannot function because it was not allowed to develop over the course of time and history naturally. It was, all this development and this water came too quickly, and it destroyed the integrity of the stream. So, and this one shows we're actually moving a blue line stream, connecting it at where the red lines are, connecting and then cutting the other part off to create more developable land. This was actually a 404 core mitigated project, and which had a lot of complexities as well. And I'm going to go through the different aspects of it. The beginning is where the concrete boxes emptied into what we call the sediment forebay, created habitat ladder so we could keep a continuous moving of aquatic species from one level to the next. Then we had the journey. It was a meandering stream to the transition into a wetland area where we had our stormwater detention area for development, the preserve, and Southwestern Energy. And then the diversion and another habitat ladder to keep the aquatic species to be able to move through freely. But the diversion, we had two streams outlet points. So we had to take this one single stream and then let it go back out, sending the same cubic feet of water per storm event out each point so that we did not kill the downstream elements. And the beginning, like I said, is really the sediment forebay. It collects this urban watershed. You can see this is just right after it was developed. We had to do massive earthwork on this because the stream segment that was there's no way it could handle the 100-year storm event. 100-year storm event now is top of bank to top of bank. And this is the same thing I talked about. Our primary system was keeping that water in a small meandering stream, and then the secondary design was to be able to handle the large storm event moving down. There's outdoor classrooms for viewing of the spaces. So once again, the integration of public plants and wildlife, and this is actually a public park for the city of Conway now. Now this is a 500-acre watershed. All that water enters this system right there. Trash booms collect trash, and the sediment is dropped at that point. So the second part, and this is actually a little green heron that lives in this segment stream. It's out there every time I've ever been out to visit the site. Some of the different plant materials there. But this is a meandering stream that continues down the channel and pedestrian bridge and Southwestern Energy, and the transition, vehicular transition. This is where the stream actually transitions into the wetland area, and where we collect and hold the stormwater and release it to change the entire hydrograph downstream. And the fluctuation here is on our primary system is 12 inches, on the everyday storm events, but it's up to 4 feet on larger events. All plants native to Arkansas. This is a live system, so this is right after the earthwork was done. We put annual ryegrass down, and the top of bank, the water elevation gets to the top of on the large events, top of bank there, so you can see how much fluctuation. But we put the ryegrass down to hold the soil in place, put blanket, we seeded, put blanket or ryegrass, put blankets, and then we came in and put native plugs, and the ryegrass helped hold all that together. But the water didn't just forcefully through that, because we had a 125-foot weir system, which is back at that area, and that's the diversion portion, so that water, came up, it comes up and down slowly. And so the parking lot, this is the stormwater mitigation for parking lot, which has bioretention rain gardens, swells in it that filter and slow down. It's got porous parking bays as well. That's porous concrete going into the rain garden area. And I always say that these are the true employees of that parking lot. All that stormwater comes in through those box culverts at that point. And once again, just integrating the public. I think it's so important. We have to keep all those elements together: the public, the wildlife, and vegetation. Diversion area. I'm going to fly through this one. This is just a small segment. When the water level is up at 12 inches, that's a continuous passageway for the aquatic species. And then also there's a 4-acre bottomland forest that is currently being restored, different plant species. And I'm just going to fly through a couple more. I'm at the end of, and I'd like to take a couple of questions if we could. This is William E. Clark Presidential Park Wetlands. This is actually a sandbar habitat for aquatic species in the Arkansas River, opened up revetment that was put in for dredging sand out of the river. So this has a 25-foot water fluctuation. It was nothing. It's right next to the Clinton Library. It had no public interaction at all, and now it's open. Like I said, 80% of the time it's open to the public, to our school kids, and they're on these boardwalks. They see. Talk about a zoo experience. This is real life stuff. You're on a protected boardwalk and you're watching ecology happen beneath your feet. This is simply the plan, and then once you're down into the actual system, there's pavilions for gatherings and so forth. A few concepts that are underway. Arkansas State University, a stormwater park, same thing, 8 feet actually 3 feet of fluctuation on this one, but integrating the public, taking the valuable land, integrating the public, creating a park space that mitigates stormwater, but also allows the public interaction through the time. University of Arkansas Medical Sciences and Medical Mile Interchange, just same concept over and over, guys. And lastly, just we're Arkansas. We're all Arkansas. Our entire staff are all from Arkansas. Most of us left Arkansas, came back to Arkansas, and our families are there. We're a small group, and we like to do dream big and do big projects, and very fortunate to be involved in some of the things we have.